today for math, we're going to do kind of a fun wrap up. We've been studying graphing using the X and Y coordinates. And today we are going to do a fun graphing activity using our M&Ms. We're going to start by, you're going to work with me to set up our graph. And then when we're set up and I'm sure everyone's kind of on the same page and knows where we need to go, I will break you up with your study buddies to actually graph your M&M bag. So who can remind the class what is one of our axes that we talked about? We have two. We have the vertical one and the horizontal one. Who remembers what the horizontal one is called? Gail? X. X. So when we're graphing, we have our x-axis that goes along like this. Good. And then we have our vertical axis. And what's that called? Y. Y. Good. So we have our x and our y. And today we're going to look at the colors of M&Ms and kind of talk about how many of each color are in there. So with that in mind, what should our labels be along the bottom for our control?
The colors.
The colors, yeah. So what's one of our colors then? What should I write down?
Yellow.
Okay, so we've got yellow. What else?
Blue.
Okay, blue. Okay.
Red.
Okay, we've got red
Orange.
and orange. Okay.
Is there brown in there?
Sometimes M&Ms have browns, but it looks like there is not a brown this time. So are we good? Is there anything else we need to add?
No.
Let's see, one more color. Yellow, blue, red, orange. The color of grass. Okay, so these are our labels for the bottom. Those are the things that are not going to change, right? There's always yellow, always blue, always red, always orange, always green. And right, these are our colors. So we're going to put that label down there. What do you think we should put here?
The amounts.
Okay, so the number of each. So number of M&Ms. And what do you think our scale should be? Remember we talked about the smaller the scale, like if it goes by ones versus by tens or 100s, the more accurate it looks. But sometimes we might have to spread them out. What do you think? Are we able to go by ones with what we had?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not too many. If we had like 1,000 M&Ms, we might have to skip count. But for this many, we should be good.
You're gonna have to go up there for the yellows.
Yeah. How many do we have here? Let me see.
21.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's kind of hard to see from a distance. Maybe we've got 20 M&Ms here. When you guys are actually counting your M&Ms in your group, you'll have your bag right in front of you. You'll be able to move them around and make sure that you can see that. So what's at our very bottom there? What is that number, guys?
That's a 1. That should be a 0.
Yeah, it is 0. It starts at 0, right? So that always starts at 0, and we need to go up. What's our highest number that we need to go up to?
20.
20. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Stay bored. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and we just made it to 20. We just barely made it on our graph to 20.
I'm not going to
absolutely true. So then you made a good point, right? We have 20 total, but is there 20 of any one color?
No.
No, so what else we could have done other than just go to 20? How could we have figured out the highest we needed to go?
Probably 10 or 5 because there's only 5 colors.
Only 5 colors? Which one has the most? What if we thought about which is the most?
Yellow.
Yeah, if we thought about what's the most, would we ever have to go any higher?
No.
No. So we could have just said, okay, what's the most? Go up to there. But this gives us a little bit more room.
Not for this bag, but somebody else
True.
might have something else.
What if you had more?
Yeah.
So this graph will cover all of us. Good thinking. Okay, so now we have our numbers, and I'm gonna have you guys actually write in your numbers, but just for the sake of time here, I'm gonna do it really quick. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and
You're slipping.
my board doesn't want to stay up. Cooperate, please. On our board. So I'm going to have you help me graph just a couple of my bag for review as an example, and then I'll let you get started on your bag to graph. The things that we're doing now, don't put this information on your graph. This is just for the class. So you're going to set up your graph just like mine, but your information is going to be unique to your bag. Hands on your head if we understand. Unique to your bag. Okay, so last thing we need to do to set up our graph before we start putting our data in is, what do all graphs have to have that we're missing?
A label.
A label, a title, right? So what should our title of our graph be?
M&M colors.
Okay. And that's what we're measuring, right? The number of M&M colors. Good. Remember, our title tells us what our graph is all about. So we just have to make sure our title is accurate to what we are trying to show. So let's go in the order we have here. The first one I wrote down here is yellow. So let's just do a couple examples together before I break you off. How many yellow are there in our bag of M&Ms?
6.
Good, there are 6 yellow M&Ms in the bag. So where am I going to draw my bar graph to?
To the 6.
Good, we're gonna make it all the way up to the 6. All the way up and all the way over, and you guys are gonna have nice graph paper, so it'll be easier for you guys to see exactly where everything is. Let's try our next one. How many blue M&Ms are in our bag?
4.
Good, 4. So remember, one of our tricks, the further out we get, sometimes it gets harder and harder to make sure our lines are right up there. So if it helps, line your ruler up, draw your little helper dots out to make sure we get to the right spot, up and over, and that's where graph paper and ruler help. And then just remember to erase your little helper line so we don't have extra confusing marks in our graph when we're done. Okay, questions so far? Are we remembering doing this? Good. So for your graphs, you will have your data, not mine. Don't do these, okay? We'll all set our graphs up together. You'll have your own data. And in addition to your bag of data graphed, I'm gonna have you look for 2 things. I'm gonna have you look for the most, what color is the most, and what color is the least. This should all be review, but we want to make sure we're on the same page and remember all this, because we're kind of putting a lot of stuff together here we've been working on as a class. And in order to figure out the most, I would like you to write that is both a percentage and as a fraction. Both, okay?
Okay.
So as a review, when we're setting up our fraction, I'm going to move this out a little bit so that we have a little bit more space to work with. What goes on the bottom or a denominator? Do you remember?
What number goes on there?
Yeah, how do we figure out what goes on the bottom?
The total.
The total. So the total we're looking at, the total number of M&Ms in this case, right, is what's going to go on the bottom. So what's going to go on the top? If our total is on the denominator on the bottom, what goes in the numerator top?
The number of that color.
Yeah, the number of the color that we're looking at, right? So if we're looking at the most, we're going to pretend it's yellow. We haven't finished our graph. It might end up being red or orange or green. But for now, it's yellow, right? So we're going to put the number of the color. So how many is that for yellow?
6.
Good. So that is for yellow, 6. And what is our total of number of M&Ms?
20.
Good. So, good. Now we have our fraction, right, that represents our most. And we're going to convert that into a percentage. And I'm going to let you use your calculator for this, okay? I'm not going to have you do long division for this because we're kind of going over a lot of different stuff. We're not just focusing on that skill. So go ahead and put this in your calculator. What would you put in your calculator if you were doing this in your calculator?
6 divided by 20.
Good. 6 divided by 20. Go ahead and do that, and what do you guys get? What number shows up?
0.3.
Good. So we have 0.3. And remember, we have to go to the nearest hundredth, right? So if there's no number there, what do we know goes there?
0.
0. So it's going to be 30%. Agree, you guys? Do we all remember having gone over this, coming up with a fraction, converting it to percent? And we've known what most and least is since like first grade, right?
Right.
Okay, any questions at this point?
No.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to give each of you you and your study buddy your own bag of M&Ms. What am I going to ask you guys to please not do with these?
Eat them.
Yes, please do not eat the data. We need our data to be able to make an accurate graph. I promise I will give you guys each a small bag of M&Ms at the end when we're all done with our graphs that haven't had your fingers all over them and graphing them and all over the table. So they're a little bit more sanitary and clean that you can eat. This is our data. Please do not eat the data, okay? Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to give you your bag of M&Ms and break into your study buddy so that you can graph your data and figure out both the fraction and percentage of the most and the least color in your bag.